It is important to understand that there is more to plastics and how significant they are in supporting the quality of life that we are currently living.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a very special podcast where we'll be discussing plastics, sustainability, and much more. This is Asil Masoudi from the Corporate Finance team, and here with us today is Alaa Al Lawati from the Performance Chemicals Polymers Department. Alaa is a chemical and sustainable energy engineer graduated from the United Kingdom. She has a passion for sustainability and the environment and loves going on adventures and exploring new places. Hey Alaa, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So Alaa, you and I are actually really good friends, which is why I was so excited when asked to host this podcast. I want to take this opportunity to tell your story to our listeners. So let's begin from when you started your journey at OQ.
Right after I graduated with my master's in sustainable energy, I joined OQ in November 2019 and started off in the staffing team under the Integration Management Office, which is where you and I met at the start of both of our journeys at the organization.
Yeah.
We got the opportunity to work with so many people from different disciplines and backgrounds, and it gave me a lot of exposure. I joined the alternative energy team after that in July 2020, where I gained a lot of experience and worked on various projects. And it was in December 2020 that I officially joined the Performance Chemicals Polymer Department, where I currently manage the wide range of polypropylene products.
That's amazing. I know you also have a deep passion for the environment, and you're always looking for ways to help sustain it and protect it. And that's actually one of the main topics you and I connected on when we first met. Where did this love stem from? Have you always loved it, or did it come with age?
Growing up, I loved being out and about in nature and seeing new species of animals in every country I visited. I personally love going swimming, hiking, and horse riding, and these give me a sense of peace. I see it as a way of stepping out of my comfort zone and taking my mind off things. And in reality, we live in a country that is blessed with a lot of pristine beaches, numerous places to go out for adventures on, and new hiking routes in almost every corner.
Yeah, that's so true. We are so blessed to live in a country that is so rich in nature. And I know we both try to take advantage of this every opportunity we can get, whether that's going on a hike or a walk at the beach. And I know I sometimes struggle with making time for this. Is this something you try and prioritize in your life? And why do you think it's so important?
I think that finding a balance in life is key, and that it's very important for us to make time for our personal hobbies and self-development just as much as we make time for our careers. What I do is I try to schedule 1 or 2 outdoor activities every single week, whether it be going out hiking with a group of friends after I get off of work, or an early morning boat trip on the weekend. And on days where I can't go out, I like to read before bed. For me, reading a novel is like watching a movie, and what I love about that aspect is that you can basically use your own imagination to create the features of the characters through the description in the book, which can be very entertaining. I strongly believe that with a good balance, everything is possible. I love trying out new things, and I believe that we are constantly learning and discovering new things about ourselves. It's sometimes not only the adventures that I go on that impact me, but it's the people that I go on with that really matter.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Having a balanced social life and work life is so important. So, Alaa, not only are we friends, but we also used to be part of the same team. And one of the things I really admired about you was your ability to multitask. There was a point where you were juggling so many things, but you did it with such elegance. What's your secret? And can you possibly give us one of your favorite productivity hacks?
Thank you for that. I actually depend a lot on to-do lists. Classic, I know. I'm a morning person, so what I tend to do during times when I have a lot on my plate is that I would schedule my week in advance and set deadlines for my tasks to ensure that I perform them in the best quality and to be able to submit them on time. I would wake up earlier than usual to check my tasks for the day and get a head start on them before the rush of our usual workday starts. Since during the day we do tend to find ourselves having to deal with urgent tasks that have a tendency to appear, sometimes as part of the nature of our business. I personally find that early mornings are very productive and are without any distractions.
So you're a morning person. Interesting. So moving on to plastics, which is something I'm very excited to discuss with you over the podcast. As we've previously mentioned, we're both environmentalists, and I've had a very negative outlook on plastics for a majority of my life. However, you and I have gone into various in-depth conversations about this topic. And since then, my perspective has honestly shifted. So for all my fellow environmentalists listening today, I wanted to touch on this topic again and ask you a few questions, if that's all right.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Great. So starting off with my first question, why do you think so many of us have misconceptions when it comes to the use and production of plastics?
I think that this misconception stems from the fact that a lot of people are unaware of the many articles in our lives that are made from plastics. Plastic in the media is portrayed as the single-use plastic, which is improperly disposed of in the environment that may cause harm to animals and may unnecessarily increase our waste. I have seen posts in the media urging people to use paper cups instead of plastic cups, where in reality, the production of plastics only uses 4% of the water that is used to produce paper. And if we were to compare it with glass, transporting goods packaged in glass would require trucks to take more trips than it would to transport goods packaged in plastics due to the lightweight nature of plastics.
Interesting. And as an environmentalist, what would you say your stance is when it comes to single-use plastics?
So, having a mixed background of gray and green energy shaped me into who I am today as an environmentalist. Working in polymers has opened up my mind to the reality of plastics, and in precise, to how plastics are allowing us to live our everyday lives in the best quality possible, as well as practice our hobbies. Since for water-related activities, the fins, masks, kayaks, and even paddleboards are all made from different types of plastics. I don't think a lot of us realize how much plastic we use every single day, starting from the moment we wake up and use a toothbrush, to prepping our food for the day in plastic packaging, driving to work in our cars, and finally getting to the office, which consists of either plastic objects or plastic-coated items such as carpets, chairs, laptops, the list goes on. Without plastics, we would not be able to live life at the same quality that we are currently living at the moment. I have also seen posts encouraging people to take their own reusable cups when they're grabbing coffee from a cafe in order to stop using plastics. But what they don't realize is that their reusable cups are also made from plastics.
True.
So basically, the idea that should be encouraged is the usage of reusable plastics. Another very important example is cars. We use cars every day in order to commute from one place to another, and they are made from 50% plastic material. And one of the properties that I previously mentioned about plastics is that they are lightweight. And so they reduce the weight of the vehicle and thereby reducing the amount of fuel used up, which consequently reduces the greenhouse gas emitted from it. Another industry that plastics is also vital in is the medical industry, where it is used in masks, syringes, and medication bottles, to name a few. And this is where single-use plastics are essential for hygiene purposes.
That's a very good point. When it comes to COVID and at the current times we're living in, single-use plastics are vital, like you mentioned, and they're very essential to ensuring our hygiene. I also want to touch on the topic of sustainability. So recently, a lot of leading global companies have been shifting their priorities by using business intelligence to not only save on costs, but to also become more environmentally aware. And you can notice that organizations are starting to embrace sustainability. Let's take the Tokyo 2020 Olympics Games for an example. In part of their sustainability plan, the athletes are sleeping on bed frames, which are made from recycled cardboard, which are also adjustable. What's your take on this, and do you see this becoming the norm?
Yes. Actually, what makes the Tokyo Olympics stand out from the previous games is its intensified commitment towards sustainability. It also reflects the resilience of the plastics industry as it continues to support the sports industry with its latest technologies. The cardboard beds you mentioned are made to be sustainable but also comfortable, and they can hold up to 441 pounds, which is equivalent to 200 kilograms. Yeah. Also, did you know that the mattresses used at the Olympic Village are made from polyethylene?
And polyethylene is a type of plastic, correct?
Yes, it is. It is a type of polymer which is also a plastic. And the beds will be recycled into paper products after the games, with the mattress components recycled into new plastic products. This was the first time in Olympic and Paralympic history that all beds and bedding are made almost entirely from renewable materials.
That's amazing.
The podiums used at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics are also made from used plastic. And for the metals, 100% of the metals that are required to manufacture the 5,000 metals were extracted from small electronics like mobile phones. So the metals are also basically made from recycled metals.
Interesting.
In the current age of environment, we are about to run out of the world's natural resources. So the use of materials is really important. The concept of sustainability focuses on meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations. This concept has become greatly popular because it has treaded a path to preserve the environment.
This truly shows that small actions can impact a large range of people. The movement of a few individuals towards a more sustainable lifestyle has held so much power as to encourage large organizations like the Olympics to start prioritizing the planet. I think that people have started to realize that when we focus on sustainability, the entire world benefits and gets to live in clean and more healthy living conditions. This actually reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, which is by an American cultural anthropologist, Margaret Mead. And I'm not sure I know the exact words to the quote, but it's basically across the lines of, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has." And I love this quote so much because at times where I felt demotivated, it picks me up and reminds me that any small action can impact a large range of people without you even realizing. I can't count the amount of times I've been inspired by strangers, whether that's at the grocery stores or at parks, and I pick up their small habits. So I wanted to ask you, what suggestions do you have for our listeners on how we as individuals can make a difference when it comes to being more sustainable or environmentally aware?
I love that quote, and it truly reflects the power of small gestures. What we can do to help keep our environment safe is try and do our fair share of managing our waste and thereby reducing it.
Yeah.
Always think before you purchase and always try to go for reusable options. Acting and making a change can be as simple as carrying a reusable water bottle with us when we go out for errands or even a hike, and similarly when grabbing coffee on the go. Like you, I strongly believe that every little helps. It is important to dispose of our waste responsibly and in the right manner. The other day, I saw a pigeon wrapped around in a surgical mask. The pigeon was stuck. It was unable to do the thing that was second nature to it. It was not able to fly and return home. If the person had only properly disposed of the mask, the pigeon wouldn't have been in danger. This is their home as much as it is ours. Did you know that around 300,000 migratory birds are estimated to visit Oman on a yearly basis?
No way.
How many of our actions are endangering this species? The irresponsible disposal of the surgical mask is but one example. So, try and pick up any stray litter that you see laying around when you're out walking or even chilling at the beach. In order for us to protect our environment and home, we can take the initiative in leading a more sustainable lifestyle by reducing our waste consumption to ensure that we have sufficient resources to go around and sustain for the future.
Thank you for mentioning how the seemingly simple things that we do every day can make a difference to our environment. On this note, I think we've come to the end of our podcast. But before we leave, what are the key takeaways that you would like our listeners to remember?
It is important to understand that there is more to plastics and how significant they are in supporting the quality of life that we are currently living. We all have a role to play here, and if each and every one of us does simple things like reusing certain materials, reducing waste, and ensuring safe disposal of it, then each and every one of us will contribute in making a difference in keeping a sustainable world.
Perfectly said. And your answer actually reminded me of a saying, which is, in order to make things happen, you need to make things. And one of those things is an effort.
Absolutely.
Alaa, it has been a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights and experiences, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you.
Thank you, Asil.